Hey there, I'm Amy.Connell. Welcome to Graced Health Podcast for women who want simple and grace-filled ways to take care of themselves and enjoy a little chocolate as well. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who wants you to know your eating, movement, and body don't have to be perfect. You just need to be able to do what you're called to do. Welcome to those of you who are watching on YouTube, where you get the unedited version of this. Today's question in this Ask the Trainer episode is, how do I get rid of those fill in the blank? So for search purposes, I said flabby arms. I hear flabby arms. I hear big belly. I hear hips. I hear crepey skin. I hear all kinds of different things. And so I want to go over that just a little bit today, because let's take back to the just kind of the mechanics of how our body works. So one thing that you have probably heard, but I do like to remind people, is you can't spot reduce. Unfortunately, if we could, I would have a 6-pack abs, but I don't because that's just an area. And actually I've done some testing. I've done a DEXA scan. It's one of the leaner areas of my body, but I still just kind of have what I consider to be a flabby belly. So sometimes there's just we just store our extra adipose tissue, which is also known as body fat, but I don't like to use the word body fat because it comes up with all of these weird just things that we think about. So I like to say adipose. But we have a predisposition to store that adipose in different areas. Men will oftentimes hold it more in their bellies. Women will oftentimes hold it more in their hips. And then often we'll see it in our arms or in our triceps or something like that. So that is one thing to consider. So if you are trying to reduce your adipose, then adjusting your weight may help. Now, I want to first take a deep breath, because if you've been with me a while, you know I really hate talking about weight. I hate talking about how we look from a perspective of, trying to look good for other people. And that the focus of my ministry is really taking care of our bodies so we can do what we're called to do. There are absolutely times, and I am coming off a season of this right now in the summer, where I have not been taking care of myself as well as I could have. And for me, it's been more in the nutrition department. I've been moving, but I haven't been eating as well. And I'm wearing my summer. I'll just say that I am wearing my summer. So I'm going to be coming up in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be going back to the things that have been working for me in my 40s. I will be tracking my macros a little bit more. I'll be making sure that I have protein. And this is how I have found I can get my weight to the point that my body likes to be at. I know what my set point is. I know my set point is around 146 pounds. I haven't weighed, but I also know what my measurements are, and I'm sure that those are both more. So I get that there are times that we want to take our body back to the area and to the way that it functions the best. And so I'm kind of speaking to that too, but please remember that this is not a place where we are just trying to be Johnny Sixpack or Jonna, I don't know, where we're having super lean bodies. That's not the goal. That's not my hope for you, because we're trying to take away this perception that we have to have a perfect body and then we'll be happy. So I'm sorry, that's a little bit of a tangent, but I just feel like I need to give that disclaimer, particularly if you're new and you're watching on YouTube, because if you're looking for ways to get all of that, you're not going to find that here. You are going to find a lot of grace. And if you're going to find grace for people who wear their summer. I'm definitely one of those. But anyway, if you are trying to change a little bit and feel better, then this is the conversation that I want to have today. So again, you can't spot reduce. You will have areas depending on your gender, depending on your genetics of where you store your adipose. Some of us have kind of a little bit larger of a belly. Some of us have a really flat belly and, our hips are a little bit larger. Look around at the women in your family. That's a great indication of what your genetics are. Obviously, this is not this is not how it's going to be for everyone. But if your family members are genetically, if they are with you genetically, they didn't come into your life or you didn't come into their life through, adoption or, there's a lot of ways that we can create families. But look around. And if every woman in your family is big busted, maybe you're big busted. If every woman in your family has that pear shape, then you're probably going to have that pear shape. And that's how God made you. And that's okay. Okay. I'm getting off on a tangent. Sorry. The other thing that I do recommend, however, if you are trying to pay a little bit more attention to some areas, is strength training. This will serve two purposes. Number one, you will add some muscle to those areas. Now, if you feel like you have really flabby triceps, that's that underarm area, and I'm showing it on YouTube. If you feel like you have really flabby triceps, please don't get your weights and do just tricep kickbacks and headbangers and tricep extensions all the time, every time. That's not balanced. That you want to do different, opposing muscle groups. So that's not what I'm recommending. But in general, if you will do an overall full body strength training, then this will increase your muscle tone, not only in the area that you're concerned about, but also in other areas. The secondary benefit to that is when we have more muscle, we have a higher basal metabolic rate, which is also known as metabolism. So if you are trying to reduce your adipose in certain areas, if your metabolism is increasing, then that will help to reduce the adipose in that area and potentially other areas as well, depending on where you store that. So that's something else to consider is adding some strength training in. But really what I want to challenge you is just to remember that we all have our genetics, we all have our, predispositions, and God made us a certain way. And so maybe it's time that we stop focusing so much on how it looks like, but how we can love others, how we can use our body for a greater good rather than just looking ourselves. And then the final thing, which I probably should have said this before this all nice, wrapped up in a nice tiny bow thing. The final thing that I would recommend is let's just realistically, let's talk about how old we are. I've had women in their 70s say, look at my legs. My legs are so crepey. They're just flabby. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're in your 70s. I don't know what to say. Like, this is what happens. As we age, something called sarcopenia happens, which is we just reduce our muscle mass. And yes, we can reduce that reduction by continuing to strength train, but it's very, very difficult to hold on to that muscle mass as we age because that's just a natural part of the aging process. So look at yourself. Look, how old are you? I'm 46 years old. I had to think about that for a second. I'm 46. And so, yeah, there's just things in my body that they don't look like they did when they were 20. And I'd like to think that that's progress because I'm also a different and a better person when I was 20. So there's that. Okay. So lots of different tangents there. I hope that gives you some practical applications on how to get rid of these flabby arms, butt, abs, whatever that is, but also changing the mindset behind all of that. Okay, that is all for today. Go out there and have a graced day.